Hello and welcome to Everyman Theater's Kitchen Table series. I hope you have a snack and a beverage on hand because today's episode will be delicious. My name is Paige Hernandez, and I am one of two Associate Artistic Directors here at Everyman Theater. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm coming to you live and in living color from the beautiful and resourceful Piscataway land, aka the gorgeous Prince George's County of Maryland. Today's episode, we are so excited to share with you. It will center the voices of the BIPOC resident company members. BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color. Now, we all know each other super well, but we're so excited for this opportunity for you to get to know us a little better. Here's a fun tidbit about me. I love music, I love mixtapes, I love making playlists. I also love a very good dance party. So this episode wouldn't be right without a dance party to introduce our guests. So let's get it started. First up, our company member from 2020. Yep, she is a brand new company member. Everyone, please welcome Felicia Curry.
You know I love a dance party too. Hey, everybody.
Yay, welcome, Felicia. Next up, we have a very spectacular, special, talented human being who's also a fabulous Scorpio. Today is his birthday. Everyone, please welcome to the room, Tony Nam.
Hello.
Welcome and happy
birthday.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is my man from way back. We go back like fat crayons. That's a little saying we used to say. All the way since 1999 at Everyman Theater. Please give it up for Jefferson A. Russell.
I'm gonna see you back there.
What up, y'all? What up?
Oh yeah, Jefferson, that is classic.
Yep.
It's the Batusi, man.
All right. Last but certainly not least is the grand dame, the queen. Give it up, everyone, for Dawn Ursula.
Woo! When you see me in misery.
Come on. Go see you.
Okay. And we are missing two of our company members, Eric Berryman and Yago Welsh, who wish they could be here, but I want everyone at home to now join us in dancing for them as well. Let's all
Dance it out. Come on. Imagine if somebody tuned in right now. What they doing?
Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited. Thanks for BIPOC Voices today. And again, for our audiences at home to really get to know us a little bit better. So I want to start this by going back down memory lane. Back down memory lane.
Come on now.
And what I want to do is talk about either your first or favorite show at Everyman. And you know what? I'll go first, just because I'm going to throw something into the mix. My first show at Everyman Theater was in 2004, 2005, and it was the Children's Hour.
I remember that.
I saw that.
Yeah. I got to play the bad seed known as Mary Tilford. Mm-hmm. And that was in the Charles Street Theater space. So before we were in this space.
Oh,
and a fantastic cast was a part of this. This was also a co-production with Rep Stage, I believe, as well as the Baltimore School for the Arts. So the cast featured a lot of like dynamos who just went on to do amazing things on Broadway, on television, you name it. Great. I'd love to throw it to Jefferson next. Tell us a little bit about your first or your favorite show at Everyman.
My first show was Heathen Valley. That was it was either 98 or 99. I can't remember which. And Vinny directed. That was the first time I worked with Vincent Lancisi, artistic director, and Kyle Prue was in it. It was a company full of company members. And yeah, man, Kyle Prue and a whole bunch of other folks. And that was my first step on the stage there at Everyman. It was great.
Yeah.
It was last century.
You keep saying that, Jefferson, and that always makes us all feel so much older than we are. Yes. Let's go to Tony next. Tony, I know that our Kitchen Table series audience got to hear a little from you before about your first show, but we'd love to hear it again.
Yeah, I mean, first show was Aubergine back in 2018, so not too long ago, and that was just a really special show for me, just because it was about a Korean American family. It just felt so close to me, and such a special story to be a part of. And also the first show that I got to do with Jefferson, and meeting him and working with him, and since then,
My man.
He's become like a brother to me. So really, and the whole, like, just, you know, getting introduced to the whole Everyman family through that experience was just wonderful, and still have, you know, very special feelings about that show.
Yeah, a great show indeed. All right, I'm going to throw it next to Felicia Curry. Felicia, welcome.
Hey.
Yay.
So let me think hard back on my favorite experience at Everyman Theater.
She's a rookie.
So I am. I started at Everyman this year. I was doing Queen's Girl Black in the Green Mountains at the beginning of this year. Aww. And needless to say, that was the first time I was working with Paige. It was my first time working at Everyman Theater, and I have never felt so at home, both artistically and in the space. So I am honored to now be a family member at Everyman, and I'm so proud that Queen's Girl was the show that made that happen.
Yes. And I want to remind everyone that we have a company full of fantastic actors. And you'll be sure to see that link in the comments where you can check out everyone's bios. And while you do that, we're going to bring in Dawn Ursula. Dawn, tell us a little bit about your first or favorite show at Everyman.
It's so, I want to talk about a favorite, although it's so hard to pick a favorite, right? I keep doing that. But since Diego wasn't able to join us, I'll choose that one because that made no sense. By the way, Meet Vera Stark is the important part I love now.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Come on now.
Yeah.
That is a fabulous picture.
Look, if nothing else in hand. Right? Look, besides the cast being incredible and full of company members, look, David Burdick, who designed the wardrobe for that, showed his, you know what. Yes. He did.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Since Kyle and Eric aren't with us today, I do want to shout them out. So if you have a favorite memory from one of their shows, maybe you were in a show with one of them, you just want to speak to it.
I remember Raisin in the Sun down there. The Dawn was Ruth and Berryman. There you go. Was
Fatima.
He was Asa guy? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's what I was going to mention. That he was this, and seeing him in Top Dog Underdog with Kenyatta.
With Kenyatta, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, so powerful.
And the first show, or my first introduction to Yeagle, was through Brother Size, which was also in the Charles Street Theater. Yeah. There he is. A really powerful and impactful show. That
That's it.
Yeah.
So great.
And then a favorite show would have to be when I got to share the stage with both Don and Yeagle.
Dot. That was another favorite of mine.
Yeah.
That's great.
Speaking of dance parties.
Look at that.
Probably one of my favorite scenes in Dot, which was directed by Vinny Lanchisi, our artistic director. Coleman Domingo's fantastic holiday piece. That really just kept the laughs going. It was such a great piece.
Yes.
That was a great role for you, Paige. That was so different.
Yeah.
What?
I love that role. I got to be extra loud and extra,
my gosh.
flavorful.
You were
flavorful, yeah.
About chitlins. I mean,
And I gotta say, seeing you in those heels makes Mama proud. You know it makes Mama proud.
because it never happened.
Because it
I
never
was
happened.
channeling you, Felicia, at that moment. To be able to walk and make those entrances. Also, that's set at a staircase.
Yeah,
And
it was a
you
beautiful
going
set.
down the steps, it was just a sad.
I love it.
It's
I
tricky.
had to grip both sides of the railing and make sure those fruits were there. Yeah, for sure.
Wait, okay, and wasn't the next moment? Weren't you singing in that scene? Because Paige did this fantastic. She said she had to sing, right? And I remember I would tell your business page. She's like, singing, singing. I was like, girls, go for it. And she had this beautiful bit she made where she put her finger to her ear like Mariah Carey, like she knew she was good. This is all off key deliberately. She's like,
yeah, I think
my God.
he was on piano in that moment in that scene, and he turned to stage and he would always say, "Give it to me, Beyonce." And I'd be like, "Okay, here we go," and just how with the best of them. So, such great memories. The really fantastic thing about Everyman is being centered in Baltimore City. We get to learn and get to know so many of Baltimore residents and audiences. Go O's! But now I want to turn it to you all. What have you observed about Baltimore? Its people, its community, its art scene. Do you have a favorite neighborhood or community? Or maybe it's a Baltimore event or school. Tell me a little bit about your experience with Baltimore. And I'll start with Don.
So you said school, and I immediately started thinking about the all the schools that come in through our fantastic education department and see the shows. And then we have this phenomenal opportunity to go into the schools afterwards. And I think they're still doing it virtually now, where we're able to do
start next week.
Right? Yes. Talking with the students. And by far, over all the years, I'm always just so moved profoundly by the youth in Baltimore and how they absorb the place and then teach me. Like their lens and the way their maturity and the way they understand it and feed it back. I love it. It's one of the highlights of being able to be an actor and perform in this way is the youth. And I just go Baltimore youth. Y'all are it.
That really makes me think about our matinee series and some of the students we've got to get to know over the years, but also really special for the Baltimore residents like Jefferson and myself. When City College comes,
come on now,
or Poly, and the Leadership School for Women. And that's a special place, Dawn, that I'd love for you to mention or talk about.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love talking to those ladies. And however they identify. Let me be careful. I'm relearning. I am relearning here, people.
We are all works in progress.
All work in progress, but I want to honor that all the people that go to the Baltimore Leadership School for girls, that they are so astute. And my interactions with them, especially, I love walking into that building and seeing them and talking to them, and they're savvy. They're just how, again, that lens of being able to take these plays that we offer, sometimes that are very challenging, and they just process so well and ask such smart questions and give such smart feedback. And I go back to the show after. Like, I wish I could have them at the beginning of the process, because I go back to the show like, I understand the play now.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, when I was doing Children's Hour, I got to play Mary Tilford, who was totally the villain. And I'll never forget on the student matinee coming out and doing my thing and everybody being like, boo!
Boo! Yep.
And in my head, as an actor, I'm like, ooh, I'm doing my job right.
Yes.
That was really fantastic.
They're real, man. They have a visceral response
Yes.
and reaction to what's going on stage, which is beautiful because that's what we want. We don't want people to just blink at us, just staring at us. We want them to be able to feel, and we know that they do, but oftentimes the most honest response is from our matinee audiences because they just react, you know, and it's unfiltered and it's beautiful.
Yeah. And they are
That's
the
honest.
next artist. They're the next, you know, cultural trends that will help keep theater alive. And with that, I want to give a special shout out to the Lucille Clifton House. Lucille Clifton is an amazing poet who was based in Baltimore and did a lot of her work there. She was discovered by Langston Hughes, but she is turning her home, or she passed actually almost a decade ago. Her children are turning her home into a new thriving center for artists to come and do poetry and theater.
Wow, it's wonderful.
Right in Baltimore.
Yes.
Super
I love that.
exciting. So if you can
Where
check
is
out,
that, Paige? What side of town is that?
Yeah.
I believe it's on the west side. I'm not sure, but there's a link there now where you can follow it and keep it posted. They got a great grant from the Mellon Foundation to really make this a great artist incubator, which is exciting. So speaking of Baltimore, after shows, we love to hang out. We love to debrief, decompress. Tony, what is one of your favorite places to go to after a show at Everyman?
Oh man, I mean, there's so many, and you know, I've only just started exploring the place. I remember Jefferson recommended the Mount Vernon. Was it Mount Vernon Saloon? Mount Vernon Stable?
Mount Vernon Stable, but you know, I went by there. They're COVID, man. I believe they're shuttered. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's gonna be.
That was
that's gonna be really hard actually coming back and seeing
absolutely
the places that we have been to, and I remember, like, you know, there are actually a couple great Korean barbecue places up in Baltimore too. It's just like, wow, I didn't realize this was here. And I hope they're still there too when things start opening up. But of course, you know, Fornos is a special place because, you know, that's the place where we have our opening night parties and a quick place to grab a drink after a show, and they feel like an extended part of the Everyman family. And just you know, so many locations and places that have a lot of good memories hanging out with folks after shows.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any other places you want to shout out for our Baltimore businesses?
One of my favorite breakfast joints is at 25th and Howard. That's the Wyman restaurant. So it's a breakfast, and I know that they're still open.
What do you get for breakfast there, Jefferson?
I know.
Go-to is, you know, like the bacon and egg special with some home fries. You know, I there was a time in my younger year I could go there like twice a week. Can't do that anymore. But it's like Cheers. Like the guy, there's a Mr. Bruce who is one of the chefs there. He's fantastic, and he calls me Hollywood because he knows that I'm an actor. He doesn't know exactly what I do. I've tried to get him to come to see shows and stuff, but and I got hip to that place because of my father. My father loves breakfast joints, and he would. I remember us going there a long time ago. So one of the special Baltimore treats.
Nice.
For sure. And then I know that Dawn, Felicia, and I have shared a drink at the lovely Lord Baltimore.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Years have been so special to the Everyman family. So be sure to check out Lord Baltimore as well. And you know who else is still up and running? Ida B's. Ida B's.
Oh, yeah.
Familiar with this?
Yeah.
Fantastic restaurant not too far from City Hall, actually.
Right.
So a nice
downtown.
healthy walk. from Everyman, but they're still up and open for business. Black owned.
Good eats there, man.
Yeah, some good eats.
Mhm.
And speaking
Ooh.
of good
I
eats,
was gonna say, y'all are making me hungry.
I know.
Right.
At the kitchen table. I want to talk a little bit about Lexington Market.
I was about to mention
Yeah.
it.
Mm.
Yep,
Our neighbors.
they're our
Our
neighbors.
neighbors over there. Yeah.
We are literally across the street from a landmark, a Baltimore landmark that means so much for so many communities in the city. What it represents, also that it's being developed, all of the things. Jefferson, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about what makes Lexington Market special for you.
And there's so much you see there since 1782. Obviously, there's so much history there, and because it's right down there in the neighborhood that it is, there aren't any grocery stores in that area. So technically, without Lexington Market, it is a food desert. So folks they have to make market there, get things that they need for household and everything. So it is an anchor of the community and has been for so long. And there's so much flavor. There's lots of characters, obviously, down there, and it is a Baltimore staple, man. I would go there. I'll tell you how. When I used to be a police officer in Baltimore City, and when we were in the academy, right when we were first starting, they give a tour of Baltimore, and on that tour, Lexington Market was included. So that goes to show. And there were several guys in my academy class who were either new to Baltimore, certainly new to Baltimore City, may have lived out in the county, had not much contact with people who did not look like them. You know what I'm saying? So, we took a tour around the city because some of those cats were going to be working down there around Lexington Market and all of that. So, but it is an anchor in Baltimore. So it's good to know that they're doing renovations. I hope that they're opening soon. We cannot lose that history. We've been losing lots of history in Baltimore recently, unfortunately, including Cab Calloway's house. That there was a move to try to keep that, but for some reason that did not happen. So I'm glad to know that there's an effort to keep Lexington Market and some of these historical places in Baltimore, very important to our history, alive.
Yeah.
And good eats at Lexington Market. Crab cakes, fried chicken, anything you need or want.
Peanuts,
Look, that's what I'm hoping that most of the vendors are able to come back. I'm hoping that that there's people that were there that have been there for so long can also return.
I think a lot of folks had shuttered right before they started renovations. Now they had started the push for renovations well before COVID. So, there was transition going on, and who knows what the effects of COVID will be on the other side. But understanding is that it is going to be open, and but I'm hoping also that it's not gentrified to the max. That it's not that
it keeps its soul.
That it keeps its soul.
Yes.
That it keeps its soul.
Yeah, and I just have to shout it out because I have such warm and rich memories with my family. We would go to Lexington Market on my dad's payday.
Nice.
And get, donuts for $1. He would get fried fish, definitely Fayleys. I would get a chicken box with half and half.
Half and half. Salt, pepper, ketchup. That's right.
And I want to shout out my father-in-law, Charles Funn, who is a world-renowned trombone player who would play there on Saturdays with his jazz and big band. So many arts things happened there. I remember Arena Players doing a reading there in that Marketplace Center. So a special place for all of us. It's so nice to be so close to it at Everyman. So when we're back and we're up and running, we hope you check out Lexington Market.
Yes.
Mr. Fun just said lunch concerts in the comments.
Yeah, man. They have live music on Saturdays, and people would be dancing. Folks from all walks of life. They would, just the funkiest music and also the smoothest music, and people would just be jamming like the saying "dance like nobody's watching." That's what a lot of
That's
folks were
what's
doing.
happening.
Yeah, and no shade to that at all. It is a beautiful communal experience, man, and that's what we're talking about, and that's what theater is too. So
Yep.
connecting it all together, baby.
That's right. Speaking of communal experiences, one very strong communal experience that we have experienced at Everyman Theater is through the Queen's Girl trilogy.
Come
Queen's
on.
Girl trilogy is written by playwright Colleen Sinnette Jennings, who is a dear friend of a
Yes.
lot of us here. And Colleen wrote about her life, and that ended up being a part of a trilogy, 3 solo shows. Queen's Girl in the World, Queen's Girl in Africa, and Queen's Girl Black. And this series, well, the first 2 shows were in rep last season or the season before last. And then Queen's Girl Black in the Green Mountains was commissioned by Everyman. It was able to be put up just in February and March. So we've got 3 queens on this call, Dawn, but I'm not going to do the easy thing and point straight to you all. I'd like to actually hear from Tony and Jefferson about the impact of the Queen's Girl trilogy. Whether you've seen it or you've heard audience members talk about it, or maybe it's something in Colleen's life that rings true to you. What makes this story special in its communal experience at Everyman?
I'll go, even though you're the birthday boy. I went to see Queen's Girl, the first one in its first iteration with my sister. And that was so very special to be able to watch that show with my sister. And many of Colleen's experiences are actually very common. It's unusual, some of the people that she interacted with and met, Malcolm X among them, and so many others. But as far as it's a truly American story, and specifically a Black American story, and it is beautifully told. And a little fun fact: her father and my father, I think they were at Howard Medical School at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. But I learned so much obviously about Colleen, but also the journey of African folks in this country through Colleen's story, and especially in the latter half of the 20th century. And it's just an amazing journey. And then to see Dawn, and then Erica Rose, and now Felicia Curry carry that crown forward. It is a beautiful legacy that has been set. So and under Paige's direction, which is yeah, man. So it's a beautiful thing to have been witness to through all of this.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And that was really well said. Felicia, Dawn, anything you want to throw into the mix just about the power of this story?
I mean, Jefferson said something that I think is so important, and that is that it's such a universal American story. And I'm just honored that we as Black women are having the opportunity to tell this universal American story. And so many people said to me after the few shows that we got to do, that it was so relatable. And to have older white men stop me after a show that is about a Black young woman telling her story, to have them say to me, God, I just saw so much of myself in that, is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I think what she has done and what she has created is timeless. And I'm just really honored to have been part of it. It's a really special show. The whole thing. I'm calling the whole piece the show. The whole thing. The show is the whole. All three of them.
Indeed. Dawn, anything? Any last moment?
I don't know if I can say it any better than that. I'm just going to stamp cosign.
Yeah.
Yes.
We want to let our Everyman audience know that we are definitely for sure going to bring back that trilogy. Please stay tuned for more information on how you can access those 3 shows. But now I got to wrap it up. Our time is up. I know. We are
It goes
so
so
glad
fast.
you were able to join us all for this fantastic kitchen table series. Our next episode will be on Thursday, November 12th, with our resident company designers and hosted by
Right.
Noah Stein. And also, if you haven't already, be sure to check out our podcast series. You can find it on this Facebook page or on our YouTube page, The Resident Ghost Company. And most importantly, we want to make sure that everyone out there has a plan to
Vote. Vote.
make sure you find out a way to get out there and get the vote out. Your voice counts. Because
Yes, and if you
voting
can, use that drop box.
use the drop
Try not to mail it in. If you can, use that drop box, y'all. If you can get to one, try to use that drop box.
Yay. And we just want to say that we love you all. Take care. Be safe. A big hug to all of our other resident company members and all of the staff at Everyman. Also, a big shout out to Kat Wallace and Andrew Galen, who work behind the scenes. We appreciate you. Thank you, everyone.
This was so great. Thank you all.
Happy birthday, Tony Nom!
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Tony Nom.